Ouija board? Ouija board or whatever? Quiche board. Weg board. Is that how you spell the evil game thing? Weg board. Nailed it. Luigi board? The Luigi board? Making a Luigi board? Have you played the Luigi board? Can you burn a Luigi board? What is a Luigi board? My friends did a Luigi board. Do Luigi boards work? Are Luigi boards dangerous if you ask something about ghosts? What's up with the Luigi board game? Is it creepy or what? Is it possible to die for playing this game? Oh. Help, Quidja! Help pulls. Quidja board. Wegaborad. Help pulls. How to use Wedgie board. And is it real? Do Wedgie board really work? And if so, what happened? Where do I obtain a Wedgie board? Do I have to make my own Wedgie or can I buy one from a witch or vegan?
Hi YouTube, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to another 31 Days of Spook. And today we are going to be talking about the Ouija board, or the Ouija board. Now, what I wanted to do for this video was to explore the ancient origins of the Ouija board, but I couldn't really find anything. I knew that divination had roots in ancient times, but I couldn't really find anything about the Ouija board, and the research I did find sort of contradicted each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this video like I did the one about shamanism and mental health. So I'm just going to read you a quick article about tracing the origins of the Ouija board, and here we go. So I'll leave this website in the description box if you want to go and read this article for yourself, but this is the Ouija board. Tracing the origins of the infamous Ouija board. The Ouija board, known also as a spirit board or talking board, is a type of board commonly believed to enable its users to communicate with the spirit world. A Ouija board, it usually has the letters of the alphabet inscribed onto it, the numbers 0 through 9, along with words such as yes, no, and goodbye. In addition to the board itself, each Ouija includes a planchette, a teardrop-shaped device with 3 legs. The planchette is normally made of wood or plastic and usually has either a hole in its middle or a kind of a pointer. For the Ouija to operate, 2 or more people should be seated around the board, with their fingertips placed on the planchette. A question is then asked, and the planchette apparently semi-moves on its own, thus providing an answer. Now, the Ouija board did sprout from spiritualism. Although the practice of obtaining messages from seemingly supernatural things is almost as old as humanity itself, the Ouija board is arguably a more modern divination object. Some sources have argued that Pythagoras put forth talking boards in 540 BC, and others have linked them to ancient writing devices from China, but most of these beliefs fall flat when their original sources can't be found, or the stories are found to have been created as a form of publicity or based on misinformation. Talking boards are known instead to have their origins in a movement known as spiritualism. Adherents of spiritualism believe that it is possible for the living and the dead to communicate with each other. Whilst this movement is said to have already been around Europe for some time, it only really crossed the Atlantic and gained popularity in the United States during the late 1840s. The popularity of this movement in the United States may be attributed to the Fox sisters of New York, who became celebrities as a result of the claim that they were able to receive messages from spirits. During the second half of the 19th century, spiritualism reached its height, and its adherents at this point of time are said to have been in the millions. And then this next part is about the mediums. So, mediums. Spiritualism gave rise to a group of people known as mediums. The mediums claimed that they were intermediaries between the living and the dead, and employed a number of techniques to convince their living followers that they had such abilities. One of these was known as table turning, which involved a table that moved or knocked on the floor in response to letters from the alphabet being called out. Another method involved the use of planchettes with two wheels at one end and a pencil at the tip, forming a third leg. A medium would then place his or her finger on the planchette. A question was asked, and an answer would be written out by a spirit who was believed to have moved the device. Except there were problems. Communication problems. There were some serious problems with these two common methods which purportedly communicated with the dead. The table-turning method, for instance, took too long for questions to be answered, and once the novelty wore off, people understandably became bored. As for the planchette, the writings that were produced were often too difficult or even impossible to decipher, and it was regarded as a rather ineffective device. New methods of communicating with the dead were devised by mediums, and in the midst of all this, a business opportunity that tapped into the spiritualist market was perceived. And in a future video, I'm going to talk about devices that are capable of communicating between worlds, and I think you'll like it. But the business opportunity is the reinvention of the board. In the 1800s, a Ouija board-like device was reported by the press as being used in Ohio. One of the men who read this report was Charles Kennard of Baltimore, Maryland. In 1890, Kennard, along with 4 other investors, established the Kennard Novelty Company, which made and sold Ouija boards. Kennard's boards were initially not called Ouija, and this name came about a little later. According to a popular story, which was started by William Folk, the man who took over Kennard's company in 1892, the word Ouija was a combination of oui and ja, yes in French and German respectively. The naming of the board, this was a reinvention of the board's history on Folk's part, and there is another story which explains the board's name. According to this story, The Ouija board was given its name by Helen Peters, the sister-in-law of one of the company's investors. And I think I read in another article somewhere that she was a medium and that the name, or that Ouija was coined by Helen by means of spirit communication with the other side. And they had to prove that the Ouija board worked to have them patented into what was then Ouija board. And then I think it was in the late 1890s that Parker Brothers finally ended up with the rights to Ouija board, and now we have the Ouija board that we find in Target and such. But yeah, that's a little history of the Ouija board. If you like this video, then hit the like button. If you have any suggestions for future videos, then leave them down in the comments. And I will be leaving this article in the description box if you want to go and research the mysterious origins of the spirit board or talking board. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Alright, bye guys.
Return the slide, or suffer my curse.
What's your offer? What's your offer?
This night you will be visited by 3 plagues, each worse than the last. Return the slide.